My brother was your normal person. He was wonderful. He was my younger brother, but took care of me and the rest of my siblings. We always talk about that, like, oh, if Ricky was here, he would take care of us. You know, he always, even when he was an addict, he still would do anything for his family. I mean, he was a great person. He had a great heart. My brother literally got out of jail. He was there for 3 months. I got a message from him the day he died. I get a Facebook message at 4:17 of him, hey V, I just got out of jail. I'm 3 months clean. I'm never touching that stuff again. 5:55 was when he was declared dead. My mom had called me at 5:30 and said,
Hour and a half later.
Yeah. No one wakes up saying like, hey, I want to become a drug addict. It was really hard for me because I had to watch that happen for almost 10 years. And it literally started with an opiate, like popped his shoulder out of place and was given Vicodin, and it just downhill from that.
It's very sad to see so many young people come in repeatedly and then one day they just stop coming. And you read the obituary in the paper and see their name in the paper. And it's all completely and totally preventable. We are starting to see more younger people come in with opioid addiction issues, and some of it's not addiction, some of it's just experimentation and right. You know, a party drug of choice nowadays.
Opiates are a pharmaceutical or a chemical that bind to a certain receptor, if you will, on the outside of a cell in your brain and other parts of the body, that when the opiate attaches that cell, decreases your pain response. There are several different opiates, classes from illegal to legal. The problem is that any of these opiates in higher doses cause the next side effect, which is depression of your respiratory, your ability to breathe.
When a person starts using opiates, it interacts with your brain chemistry. It goes to the reward center in the brain. It's very pleasurable. Over a period of time, you cannot get that same pleasurable effect with the same dosage, and so you're going to have to increase your dosage once the tolerance increases. And when people are starting to use more and more of a substance, and then if it's laced with something like W18 or fentanyl, there's a much greater potential for overdose and death.
Elements want to respond to a pump overdose. Advise that he's hardly breathing at this time. He's not conscious. And also advise he has done this before.
Overdoses used to be somebody has overdosed on Tylenol or has overdosed on Percocet. They were milder form, they were easily treated, but now patients are not able to gauge how much synthetic narcotic they're consuming or ingesting or inhaling. So they have a higher concentration attaining plasma level very quickly, going to their brain and producing the desired effect, time 10 or time 100, if you will.
We started seeing an increase in opioid cases in Beaufort County in the last quarter of 2016. It continued to increase during 2017. We saw a slight decrease in 2018, but in 2019, it's reemerged with a vengeance. We've seen in upwards of 20 cases in January and February of 2019. We're seeing overdoses associated with pills, prescription pills that fall into the wrong hands, stolen out of a medicine cabinet of a family member, and they end up on the street being sold. We see counterfeit pills, which are extremely lethal. They could involve carfentanil. We're seeing fentanyl. We're seeing heroin, intravenous use of heroin, cocaine mixed with heroin. We're seeing cocaine mixed with fentanyl.
There's all kinds of risk factors. Poverty, when you're younger, if you have an untreated psychiatric disorder, if you have had a history of using other drugs, even tobacco users, people especially with chronic pain, and again, just anybody who's got a history of addiction in their family or even themselves.
Some people are addicted when the first time they experience it because the euphoria they can't find anywhere else. So they just have to look for that next fix to give them that euphoria. It's not regulated by the FDA like the other medications we see of abuse. So these leads to trends of spikes of potency that unfortunately cause death.
they're coming in very bad shape, sometimes clinically dead, and are being resuscitated. They survive to do it all again a day or two later.
Many times our deputies and other first responders from the municipalities in Beaufort County are administering Narcan. And that has saved a lot of lives. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
The last 2 years have been the highest number of Narcan rescue that we've had, even outside in the parking lot, thing that we never used to see. On one hand, it has saved countless lives, but at the same time, it's become a go-to party drug as well that, you know, I have Narcan available, I can have as much drug as I can take.
There's actually word on the street that some heroin dealers are actually selling Narcan as well. That's an interesting way for a heroin user to say, I can potentially meet all your needs with this. I can make you feel good and I can help you to avoid dying.
When I got that phone call, granted, I always thought I prepared myself for it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, my part of me literally died. Even that day, my aunt said, there was this look in his eye. She's like, Vanessa, you know that look that Ricky gives? And I knew exactly what she's saying. She's like, I just had this feeling. Like, he even said, Aunt Mona, I'm not touching that H anymore. And literally that day he overdosed. So like, I personally don't feel like it was an accident. I feel like he was just tired and alone and done.
In Beaufort County, we have, we've actually seen, at least on this side of the Broad, a 222% increase in the number of clients that we see in this office, north of the Broad, that come in here with opiate use disorders. And still surprisingly, the larger number of people that we see are coming in with a synthetic opiate disorder.
Our partnership with the Beaufort County Alcohol and Drug Abuse Department started in 2017 when we recognized that we were having a problem with opioids, or what are suspected to be opioids in many cases, because oftentimes they're consumed prior to us getting there. So it's more of what presents at the scene when we arrive. If they have some of the symptoms that are associated with opioid overdose, they are administered Narcan. We're seeing a lot of things that are troubling and of great concern.
Takes over your entire body. I never got it for a very long time. I'm like, why would you want to do this? Snap out of it, Ricky. Like, no, they cannot. It literally takes over you. It changes you. It changes your brain. It changes your whole mentality of your entire life.
It's a public safety issue, it's a public health issue, and moving forward, we'd like to see these numbers decrease.